Welcome back. If you saw one of my recent puzzle solving videos where I got pretty frustrated at the end, I was losing a lot of rating points as well as failing a bunch of puzzles. This was one of the ones that I failed, but even after I looked at the solution, it didn't make sense to me. And that was on chess.com. And so I'm taking this puzzle position into the analysis board on Lichess to see if I can figure out why this was actually where I wanted to end up in the puzzle. All right, hopefully I'll learn something from this, and maybe you can too. This is actually the ending position of the puzzle, and I was playing with the black pieces headed this way toward promotion. But it's white's turn, because my last move was to capture their knight here, and the puzzle was solved. Okay? And it says black has a huge advantage. Over there it actually said minus 153. And here it says minus 62. So a slight difference, but these are slightly different engines and I believe implemented in slightly different ways. This is Stockfish 14, whereas I think I was looking at Stockfish 15 over on chess.com. But regardless, that's where the puzzle ended. And then I went to the analysis board after that and played around with it. And I came up with a draw by repetition rather than a huge advantage for black. So I wanted to see what would happen. So it says, same as the other site, white's best move is to promote to a queen. Okay, and then my best move is obviously to promote one of my pawns to a queen. And I don't think it matters that much which one. On the other side, it said they were identical, but here it's saying that's a much huger advantage to promote the C pawn first. So that's interesting. It says I have mate in 28 if I promote with my C pawn before the A pawn. Okay, so let's do that. And then what would white play? I thought if I were playing with the white pieces, which I'm not, but if I were, I would want to put my queen here and start checking immediately because I can tell they have a queen. They're going to get another one. Let's start checking. And I don't know if you can actually read the fine print there in the upper right of your screen, but it does say that that's the second best move. That's the first best move. It looks like it doesn't matter that much which one they play. But let's say white played here, which is what I played in the analysis board over there trying to figure this out. And just like the other site, it says my best move is actually to move my king one square that way, king to e2. And I have mate in 16. Okay? So I will play there. Now over there it said that white would move their queen out here to h4, hoping to check down here on h2. And on this site, it says d7. This says white's best move is queen to d7. I don't understand that. But it also says a5 is fine and h4 is fine. They're all about the same. But let's go with that one because that's the one that I couldn't figure out. And then I will promote my other pawn. What I did in the other site, because it said that A was my better move, I played A first, but then in this position, I promoted the C pawn. So it's going to come out the same way. This is the exact position that I had in the analysis board, and mate in 12. I think over there, at this point, it was saying mate. I think it was a few moves more than 12. I don't remember exactly. But then white's going to check me here, or here, or here. And let's say they check on h2. On the other site, Stockfish 15 said my best move was king to e3, and that's what I played. But then white checked me. And then it said my best move was to go back, so white checked me. And then it said my best move was to go back, and so on. And every time it would say just to go back. That's a draw by repetition. But here, it says that's okay. I would still have mate in 14 if I played king to e3. But I'm pretty sure if I did that, we would end up with the same position as the other site. But here it does say the best move is d3. Okay, so let's just see that. Okay, now it's saying that they can check me on g3 or h3 or d6. Okay, I see problems with all of those. So this is definitely my best move here. Much better than what the other site suggested on e3. Going to d3 is much better, at least from my level of understanding. Because if the queen checks me on h3 or g3, I will interpose with my queen on e3. And then they can't check me again. Not very easily. And if they check down here, I'm going to interpose with my queen there. So depending on where they check me, I have queens that can block the checks. Okay, so let's say it checks here. I'm going to block queen to e3. And now they can't check me again. Oh, they can down here. Okay, so they stayed on the diagonal, so they can check me down here. Well, now I'm going to play queen a to d4. And now they can check me again over here or here. Does it make any difference? Apparently it makes a huge difference because Stockfish is only suggesting a6. It's not suggesting a3 at all. I wonder why. How much worse is that? Okay, that's not that much worse. But here I get out and get their pawn. Okay, let's go back. What about here? I still can come out and get their pawn. Right? It says that's not even my best move, but it's one of the two best moves. I think that's what I would do. And now what are they going to do? Try to check me again? Yeah, and here I force a queen trade. Because I check them, they have to take. Because if they don't, if they just move their king out of check, I'm taking their queen. And mates in a few moves. So it says actually, oh, their best move would be to interpose here and then force the queen trade that way. All right, well, let's do that. And then, of course, I would take, no, it says I wouldn't take. King to d4? Really? I would just take. And then they would take. And then I have mate coming in just a few moves. Okay, so the engine here was much more reasonable, at least in my opinion, than the one on the other site. Because going back to here, when white plays queen to h4, and I promote my other queen, then they check here. Yeah, that was the problem on chess.com that frustrated me because it said king to e3 was my best move as black, and that's what I played. And I said, okay, well then what if white checks me here? And it said king to e2 is best. But see here, that's not what it's saying. It's saying I would be fine on e2, but d4 is actually better. And now for them to check again, they would have to go all the way back down here. Oh, well, one of my queens is behind that, but it's protected. And then I would go to d3. And then they would go to h3. But then I would block, right? Yeah, block that check. Okay. So that's why it's nice to have multiple sites and multiple engines to look at. But this makes more sense to me. I understand it now. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you have any comments about why Stockfish suggested the repetition, even though I was way ahead, comment. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.